The B-17 Flying Fortress, it left a legacy unmatched in aviation history. Along with the B-24 Liberator, they were World War II's most famous planes. One of the few remaining B-17s in flying condition made a stop here at North Little Rock's Airport, and it's where we begin this week's show. Then we'll take you to the Ouachita National Forest to the Winding Stairs Trail section, which offers some of the most spectacular scenery in the state. And then we'll wrap it all up with a regatta on Lake Maumelle. But for now, let us take you back in time to the greatest generation as the B-17 takes to the skies once again. The B-17 Flying Fortress was, without a doubt, one of the most famous planes ever built. It served in virtually every World War II combat zone and is probably best known for its daylight strategic bombing of German industrial targets. Production of the plane was almost 13,000. Today, only about a dozen are left airworthy. One of those few B-17s based in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, tours the country, bringing World War II history up close and personal. And in every town and city it flies into, the men who flew the plane during the war eventually gather to look, to reminisce, and most importantly, to tell their story.
Of course, you had battle damage, but you never had anything serious until I got in B-17s, and it was on September 13th, 1944, we flew a mission to Ouachitas in Germany. We got shot up bad. We lost 2 engines over the target. Then we tried to stay with the group as much as we could because there's fighters in the area. And trying to stay with them, then we overheated the other 2 engines. Number 1 and number 2 engine on the left wing were still operating until they started cutting out. And we just cut in, cut out, cut in, cut out. Couldn't get them cooled down. But we took a debate whether to abandon, bail out, or stay with the plane. So we stayed with it and set a course for Brussels. Brussels had been liberated 10 days. And we set it down in a turnip field. It was going to land on the strip. They lowered the gear, but we got to the airfield, the fighters were taking off and the C-47s, and we couldn't land. It told us to go around. We couldn't go around. We was losing altitude, so we had to set it down in a turnip field with the wheels down. But everybody got out in good shape.
It was a pretty tough old plane then, I guess.
Tough plane. We had the right side of the plane was just demolished. The radio operator got hit, but he had his flak suit on, and he was down on his knees throwing out what they call chaff. That was long strips of foil that you put out in the air, to give the radar on the ground a false reading. And he was throwing that chaff out, but he had his flak suit off and had it on the floor and was kneeling on it. And that shrapnel come up through that floor, up through that flak suit and hit him on the knee, but it was pretty well spent after going through the flak suit. So, and the plane was tore up. It's a tough plane. It would fly. I've seen them come back with 2 engines, and we would have got home with 2 engines had they not overheated. But you hear all kinds of stories, about them, how they managed to get back across the channel, how the fighter planes would escort them back when they were in trouble. But it was a well-designed airplane.
What are your thoughts when you look at it now?
When that plane come in a while ago, I walked up, he was getting ready to land, and the thought that went through my mind was watching them come back off of missions. You'd always, when they circle the field before they land, you'd always start counting to see if they all got back. Sometimes you'd think, well, we've lost 3 planes, and they'd come in and land, and then in a short while, maybe 15 minutes here, would come another one, straggled in with battle damage. It'd always come in, if they had the injured on board, it'd always come in and fire a red flare. And if they were in the group, when they come in, they had priority to land first. But when it straggled like it and come in last, of course, there's no one in front. They come right on in. The ambulance would meet them as soon as they got the plane stopped. But we always look when they come in, see if anybody fired a red flare, they had engine on, and wonder if that was some of your squadron. You pretty well knew everybody in your squadron, but as a group in whole, you didn't know everybody. You knew some, but you hobnobbed with your squadron.
This B-17 I flew quite a few hours in it. It's a good old airplane, I was a radio operator in there, and I mean, it'd get you back. There's some of those fellows that flew in it during World War II, So,
I guess they didn't call it the Flying Fortress for nothing.
No. Well, of course, the B-29 was called the Super Fortress, the old B-29. I don't know whether they've got any of those still flying around or not. Probably some of these places have one, but the B-17 was a good old airplane. A lot of times we would be out or something, and one of the engines would go out, so it'd bring us back on 3 pretty good. We'd probably come back on 2 if it had to,
Tom Davis was a gunner in the ball turret underneath the B-17.
My part of the war was the finish, and the Luftwaffe was practically defeated then. We saw a few fighter aircraft, but our mostly concern was anti-aircraft fire. And we lost a few planes, but nothing like they did in the first part of the war.
I understand sometimes that you'd be in there for like hours on end, 7, 8 hours?
Yeah, our longest missions were about 10 hours long. Of course, you didn't have to stay in the ball during the mission. When the takeoff and rendezvous time, you could be up in the plane, but as soon as you cross the channel and get into enemy territory, you're in position then for whatever comes.
I guess you get, like anything else, it looks like it's pretty much cramped, but I guess you got used to sitting in there.
Oh yeah, a young man could sit for hours like that. He was in a fetus position with your hands up and your knees up in your chest, and your controls. You could turn all the way around, down and up.
And I was both B-29 and B-17 flight engineer, and flew the B-17s that were radio controlled and that they flew through the atomic tests back in the late 40s. And some of that was pretty interesting flying, particularly if you were on the drone. You got in quite a few interesting situations and fortunately got out all of them.
One of the current pilots of this B-17 is a former commercial airline pilot who says he wouldn't take anything to give up the opportunity.
Well, flying the B-17 is a pretty special privilege. It's a real unique opportunity that not many people get the chance to do anymore. And it's a real honor to be able to share it with the public. This airplane means so much to so many people for so many different reasons. It's an icon of our history. People have family ties to it, that they had relatives that were either lost in the war or served in the war. And then, of course, the veterans that are still alive that come out and literally get tears in their eyes when they see the airplane. It's a real special, it's a special deal to be part of the crew of the airplane.
I imagine it pretty much, since you've been piloting it now for 4 years, that it lives up to its name, being a flying fortress and being tough.
It's a great airplane. It's taught me a lot and continues to teach all of us. It's one of those airplanes that when you're really good at it and dialed in, it can make you look good, but it also can turn around and humble you real quick.
I imagine, like you said, going all throughout the country and displaying it. It's kind of been a second education for you as far as the veterans that you meet.
That's a very good point, and it really is that. It's the people that you meet that make it that special part of your life. Flying the airplane is wonderful, and it's a real challenge, and it's every day is different. But the people that you meet, you just never forget the stories. You continue to grow and learn about all these amazing things that happen to so many different people that somehow are all linked together and tied together through this piece of history.
Still, yet one more story from Ray Wall, who operated one of the side or waist guns.
Had two up there, and then the two on the top, and then the two on the ball, and then the two waist and two tails. That's what we had. And regardless of which way that thing flew in, that's the way, it all depends on how many of them was firing at it, see? So we had a ball. It didn't seem like we was having a ball at the time, but 'cause we was worried about him shooting one of those, I don't know what some kind of a cannon that the Germans had. We was afraid that we'd get tangled up and got shot with one of them, but we never got that many. We had a few, and but we usually, if he got close enough to one, we hit him. Well, you had 6 or 8 guns on him at one time, and tracers every once in a while to tell you which way your shells was going. When you put a tracer in there, to tell you if you fire in front of him with a tracer, and then he'd try to dump down under him, see? Mm-hmm. And so we couldn't hit him with the machine guns, but we got him anyway.
Got him anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got him anyway. This greatest generation, they got him anyway for our freedom. In the Ouachita National Forest near the Albert Pike Recreation Area in West Arkansas is the Little Missouri Trail, with the popular section being the Winding Stairs Trail. Now, this trail follows the Little Missouri River, of course, and is well known for its scenic beauty, popular swimming holes, and fishing opportunities. It's also a popular place to explore just about any time of the year. So, follow us along as we do the hiking for you. Hiking along with us is Tom Ledbetter from the Caddo Ranger District in Glenwood. There are several water crossings along this 4-mile trail, the first one being at Blaylock Creek. The Winding Stairs section is probably the most popular trail in the Ouachita National Forest, offering several spectacular overlooks of the Little Missouri River.
Yes, it is. The Winding Stairs section of the Little Missouri River and of the Little Missouri Trail is definitely the most popular section of the trail. This trail was built in the late 80s, early 90s by the Student Conservation Association. It's comprised of a group of 6 to 8 high school kids and leaders. They would come in and work 4 to 5 weeks. It took a period of several years to complete the trail. We also had different volunteer groups work on it. We had folks that were Forest Service employees that also worked, our Youth Conservation Corps. They did quite a bit of trail building on this trail.
Along with the hiking, there are many other opportunities this trail offers along the Little Missouri River.
bet. We have a lot of outdoor recreation opportunities here. You can do everything from day hike to backpack. This Little Missouri Trail is part of the Eagle Rock Loop, which is the longest loop trail in the state of Arkansas. It's 26.8 miles. A lot of folks enjoy fishing, swimming in this area. We have folks that camp in our developed rec sites and day trip down here and do just a variety of recreational activities. During high water times, there are a lot of canoe enthusiasts and kayakers will run this section of the river, and it's quite a challenge when the water's up.
What kind of fish are here? Smallmouth?
You know, they're mainly smallmouth, long-ear sunfish. We have some spotted bass and some largemouth, but predominantly the smallmouth is what most anglers see.
With all the large novaculite rock outcrops, cascading waterfalls, stately hardwoods, old-growth pine stands, the Little Missouri River is also a designated wild and scenic river.
The section we're standing on here is a wild section. The entire river is designated as wild and scenic. The scenic section is from its origin down to the Albert Pike Recreation Area, and then south of that it's designated wild until it leaves the forest boundary.
And I guess behind us, one of the more popular swimming holes.
Most definitely. We have a lot of opportunities to swim up and down the river, but this is definitely one of the more used areas. Most folks come to this winding stair spot to swim, and this is one of the larger swimming holes.
Another popular reason for coming to the winding stairs section along the Little Missouri River is for the photography.
Most definitely. We have a lot of folks that are shutterbugs that come out and enjoy this area. There have been many segments taped down here to highlight the beauty of the natural state. We've had folks from the Arkansas Department of Tourism come out, and we have our avid camera folks that come out locally and from all over the United States and just to take photos of this area. I would say probably the most active time and the prettiest time is in the fall. That's when most folks show up to take pictures.
Tell us a little bit about the novaculite here.
You know, it's a unique area, Chuck. This novaculite outcroppings we have around us, they're beautiful. They're not found in many sections of the state. This served as a novaculite quarry for the Native Americans. That's where they got their blanks to build spear points, arrowheads, many of their tools. It was a very rich area for them to come and mine.
So come and experience paradise in the Ouachitas at the Winding Stairs area along the Little Missouri River. You may have heard of the America's Cup, and then there's the U.S. Sailing Championship of Champions here on Lake Maumelle, west of Little Rock. Come along with us on the high seas, or shall I say, the high lakes.
Everyone here, 20 competitors, have each won a national championship in their respective type of boat. And once a year, they all come together in a like boat. This year it happens to be a Y flyer, and to see who's the champion of champions. So the person that wins this is regarded as the best small boat sailor in the country.
And the boats don't actually belong to the sailors.
The boats belong to all the people that in the Y flyer fleet, and only 5 of them came from here, and the other 15 came from all around the country. They towed them in, took a week off work, and they're here volunteering.
Tell us how this type of a boat handles. And it was Young Quest is the gentleman's name?
Right.
Y flyer.
It's come a long way since Mr. Youngquist designed it in '49. It's a flat boat, and it planes very easily. And in this wind today, it will fly. Of course, 25 miles an hour in a sailboat that close to the water is flying. It feels like 100 miles an hour in a motorboat. And they handle this wind fairly well, and they go pretty well in light wind.
Well, I started sailing these boats at, I guess, age 3 with my parents, and got into Optimus prams and started traveling all over the country doing that stuff when I was 7, and got out of that at 13 and started racing lasers and did the whole college stuff for the College of Charleston. And we won the Wi-Fi Nationals this past year, and that's how we ended up here this weekend. And it's been a lot of fun to come out and race against all these people from all the different places, and there's a lot of good people out here. I hadn't really sailed with this much of a stacked competition before in 20 boats, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to hopefully maybe getting back here and doing it again sometime.
Sailing is a sport that's quite often handed down from generation to generation.
My dad and my granddad were always big sailors, and when I was about 5, my dad and granddad actually built my first boat out of a little wooden Optimist. When I was about 6, I started racing it till I was about 10 or 11. I did a lot of sunfish sailing for a while, and then I moved into lasers, and that's the boat I sailed most through my junior years. And I went to College of Charleston, sailed on the team for 3 years. I took this year off because I got to try to graduate and can't travel every weekend anymore. It's just kind of gone from there. I met Will. We were racing Optimists against each other. We were about 10 years old. Just kind of stayed friends ever since then. Started sailing Y-Flyers with them about, I guess, 3 or 4 years ago. We started doing the Nationals. We finally won it in Charleston this past summer.
So what is your thrill-seeking, I guess, spirit about this and your adventure and satisfaction?
This kind of stuff, I love it when it blows hard. You get a little scared, get the adrenaline going fast. That's what I like sailing. Big breeze, big waves. We love sailing in the ocean back home.
Your father is the one that taught everything that you know. Tell us.
Yeah, he got me started in it, threw me out in a boat when I was about 4 years old alone, and went away, capsized, and I didn't think I could get it back. He thought I could. My mother finally came out of the cabin and said, no, he can't, so he had to come in and rescue me. So that's how I got started. I've been racing most all my life, and so it's just a great family sport. I've got my father here supporting us, and I'm sailing with my 27-year-old son. So it's a great way to do things as a family.
So what is the thrill that you and the satisfaction that you get out of something like that, of battling with the wind out there like today?
Well, I think that's the thing. It's sailing is a sport that you learn something new every day, and it's never the same. And although conditions can be similar, but in these winds, we're from Nebraska, and we have a lot of high winds. And so I'm used to these conditions. And so we finished 6th overall in the race, but at the first mark we were sitting 2nd place. So we were excited. We were looking forward to this type of winds.
But what you don't want to do is sail topsy-turvy. Now, when you capsize, or even like one of the boats, you call them turtled,
right.
What is the technique you use to go upright again?
Well, most of the time you just have to there's a board called the center board, and you have to get out on that quickly. And that's the board that hangs out below the boat. And the crew and the skipper and crew get on that, and you can just stand on it and you'll just get the boat right back up again. If the boat turtles, you have to push the center board up because it might fold up into the boat. So you have to get underneath the boat, get up underneath it, push it up, and the other person holds on to it, come around, get on it, and try and ride it up. So it's a trick, and it takes some practice. And most everybody here has had a lot of practice doing it, but you hope you get to a level where you don't do that as much. So that's what we call slow when that happens. So.
And what's good for father and son sailing is also good for mother and son.
Well, the air's not too bad, but once you get in the water, it's pretty cold.
We've spent a lot of time in the water since we've been here. We turned over yesterday and turtled, and Mac got really, really cold and had to come in, and took us about an hour to right the boat. And that was pretty much of an experience for him. Something cold water, being in that cold water he had never experienced before. It's pretty warm water in Mississippi and in Texas.
But you did great today.
We did okay. We survived today. He was pretty scared. We were flying. I don't think either one of us has ever raced in wind that strong. But these are champions. And Mac is a champion, and he's the reason that we're here. And I said, you can't quit. You got to sail this race. So he did, and he's pretty proud to finish with upright.
So if you think sailing might be in your blood, check out the Grand Maumelle Sailing Club and take to the high lakes yourself. Or check out the most popular trail in the Ouachitas, the Winding Stairs section along the Little Missouri Trail. And if the B-17 ever makes a stop anywhere where you live, by all means take a flight into the pages of history books. And for more info on these and other destinations, visit our website, aetn.org/exploringarkansas. And we'll see you again the next time for another exciting adventure on Exploring Arkansas.